Hi everyone. So in today's video, I'm really thrilled to welcome Ivet Hal, who's a vocal channeler for the Yahyel and specifically a female called ShayLa. So many of you will already be quite conversant with channeling. And, especially during these times of increased awakening with the collective, more and more channels are coming to the surface and making themselves known. It's been around for, well, as long as humanity has really, and really special channelers like Jane Roberts, who channeled a being called Seth, Carla Ruckert, who channeled a being called Ra and did the Law of One, and more recently Daryl Anker, who channels Bashar, are just a few of those. But I'm really thrilled to welcome Ivet, and today we're going to be asking some questions about her own life, her journey with all of this, how she got into channeling, and many more. So welcome, Ivet. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello. I'm very happy and excited to be here with you and co-create this interaction. So let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. So first of all, how did your spiritual journey begin?
Yeah, that's a big question. It's difficult to say even like what is the beginning. Basically, life, like when you are born, it's beginning of the spiritual journey, at least for me, because I didn't have really any like really beginning when I would say like I started to be interested in more other stuff than materialistic, because I was always more inclined to this kind of things. I feel I was always more conscious than maybe people around me, and so I was very interested in like discovering, like it was just innate feeling in me, discovering something that I wanted to remember, and so like we got some, for example, internet and computer when I was, I don't know, maybe somewhere around 13 or 15. I'm not sure, I can remember properly, probably 13. And so like my sister showed me Google, because she was older and she was studying IT, and so she was using computers as well. So she showed me Google, and like almost like, I don't know how, like, you can ask it whatever you want. And I very soon started to this Google stuff about like reincarnation, of course, aliens, and auras and all this esoteric stuff. And for example, also when I was coming home from high school by bus, next to bus station, bus stop where I was waiting, there was a bookstore. And I like to, because when I was waiting like for like 20 minutes or something, I always like to go inside, and I always went to esoteric section, and I was just excited reading the titles of the books, astrology, and it was like, oh my god, I want to read all these books. But I never bought anything because I didn't really have money, and we were not rich, so I was not getting like money from mom, so I couldn't really buy anything. But yeah, I was always excited, so that's why I was researching all this stuff on the internet. And uh, so I was very intuitive. I started to have, for example, more health issues because my body just was not working well with the diet I was having and I was brought up on. It wasn't like very unhealthy like many other people can have, but still it wasn't best for me. And so through, for example, health issues, I open up new door as well through to raw food diet, and that as well, like it accelerated my spiritual journey. And so then of course, like in around 2012, 13, like when this big shift started to happen, like I started to activate my energetic body even more. Like with the raw food diet, it started like I started to have Kundalini awakening. Probably from that, I cannot remember right now if I started to have even before, or it definitely accelerated it. But after like this shift, it was happening during 2012 and beginning of 2013. I started to awaken still more and more of my energies, healing abilities, even channeling. I started to do automatic writing, although I didn't know exactly what it was. but yeah, I was so excited about feeling energies. I had one friend around that time with who I was chatting, and he always found some good resources, pages with channelings and stuff like that. So I was very excited, reading them and feeling energies from them, and they were activating me. Not all of them, but some of them. So I was really exploring everything. Of course, I was attracted to Bashar as well. It was like second channeler that I discovered, and that was like a huge like pulling their excitement. And uh, for example, he was of course talking about the Yahyel, like a race that ShayLa is from, and hybrid children, and not all people are like immediately interested in Yahyel. When he would mention it, it was like, yeah, most of the people were still interested in him, in Bashar and his race. So for me, it was like immediately I was interested in this topic, uh, and hybrid children. So I searched for the group on Facebook. It was growing up. It was a small group, but there was someone who was actually channeling ShayLa, and I didn't even pay attention to her because she was someone else. Let's say contact. There was no reason for me to be like over interested in her. I was interested in the work that they were doing, and it was like this woman was co-creating with the ShayLa, actually drawing hybrid children. So it's even funny that basically she continue doing this with me, and not just hybrid children, but all other different beings that people want to get from me, because I have special connection with the ShayLa. That's later, when she really started to push on connecting with me, it was immediately going into romantic connection. She was basically revealing to me that we already had connection for many years, from when I was like 14 or something. And so it started a new journey for me, opening up, realizing many things. And one big reason was like why I even started to share, was that I was feeling like, when I started to open up to her, like it was sometimes really difficult because I never saw anything like this before, and I was searching, Google, getting back to Google, I couldn't find anything on this topic. So I was, I get help, of course, through different channelers as well. That's helped me ground it. And I was feeling it really strongly, and I was getting that from ShayLa, that I will be basically helping other people with these kind of connections, and this will be happening still more and more in upcoming years. And it really, like in a few weeks, when I started to share publicly some, like about my journey, already someone reached out to me, and it was this specific connection. And I think it was even like she told me that I would be drawing this connection for other people, like maybe 1 or 2 days before this first client basically reached out to me. And I didn't even put out there like that I'm doing this, I'm available for drawing. So it was really something that was just naturally happening. So yeah, like it's a lot of exciting stuff. So yeah.
Okay,
Was
cool.
that good answer for your question? Because I kind of like opened up everything immediately. So
No, absolutely. No, it really was. I think a lot of people might find the whole sort of, the idea of romantic relationships quite new to them. But as obviously you're not the only one. Other people, including myself, are opening up to these kinds of connections, which I mean, personally, I would have never imagined in my life. But it's absolutely amazing. And what I'd like to know is a little bit more about the Yahyel. Are you able to tell us a little bit about them?
yes, but what do you want to know? Like,
Well,
uh,
what is the purpose of their interactions with us? What's the sort of, the story behind it,
mhm.
so to speak?
So yeah, like of course this is most of it is based on information from Bashar, or as well Lisa Royal, sorry, is
Yeah.
I think her name. So they both channeled very similar information, slightly different, but base is like that. Basically, Grace, came here, and they are certain like de- uh, degenerated, or how to say it, humans or some humanoid species, and they basically wanted to create hybrids because they couldn't reproduce, so they were dying race, and they wanted to uh, continue with their genes, and even make themselves, let's say, better, and also make us better. So they basically created hybrid races, taking best from each of the species. And Yahyel is last of those hybrid races, although of course hybrid children are again next level of it, that we are interacting. But of course they are as well in some way Yahyel hybrid children to us as well. But when we are talking about hybrid children specifically right now, it's again something new, like with what, for example, ShayLa is working. So and about like Yahyel, of course, like why are they here? Like regardless this story about Grace, what she was also telling me, and I guess other people do, when we channel together, is that of course they are in some way like better version of us. They are more upgraded, I would say, and they don't hold a lot of barriers that we do, and they can guide us to better ourselves, to better future, really activate our potentials, find like a true worth and self-love, and not just self-love, but then shining it to other people, and just maybe bring, if that's possible, like bring humanity closer to how they, for example, function, how their society functions. So there are definitely many different aspects that they bring back to us, but of course they get something back as well, and it's a co-creation with us, because it's exciting as well to connect with us as their, let's say, parents in a certain way, and of course like we are creating bonds, we are growing as a humanity, as a species as well. So we are enough, let's say, enough for them to be interested in us in many different ways, and of course romantic ways as well. So it's very natural that they would co-create us in these ways as well. So it's just a normal blending, like in other races happens, like when you have, for example, Yahyel, of course they can have partnerships with some other humanoid races, or even maybe Sasani. They can definitely like find love in different places as well, not just their own race. And this is, in my opinion, very normal in between like races. Like you can have maybe felines as well, like having a relationship with the Yahyel, and this kind of stuff. So it's natural basically that some of this relationship would be with us, and it's also meant, she, for example, ShayLa, was excited about coming here and working with the humans, and I don't think she knew like what she would be really finding here, like finding me, finding other connections. And basically it's similar, like with us, we can have some precognition, but we don't always know what our lives will bring to us. We only know our desires, basically the soul calling. And that is basically what she was telling me, that she also brought her here. And then when she met me when I was 14, when they abducted me, let's say, uh, she immediately had a strong reaction to me. And it was like, for her, it was like love at first sight. Of course she needed to work with me in a different way, so it was a new journey for her as well. So I have a lot of that I didn't share also about this part, like what was happening even before, and I didn't explore it with her to that much degree that I could tell you a lot of stories. I have just some parts of it, because it's very overwhelming even to open up, past. For example, I know that I had a lot of dream experiences with her that were, coming back to me when I started to realize that I had this connection with her. So for so many years already, so that was a lot of coming back to me at once. So yeah, I still didn't process even the experiences that I was having with her, how much love it opened up, and it can be very challenging. Just for example, twin flame relationship between humans are very challenging. So just imagine having it with someone who is on a much higher vibrational level, and it's different type of being. It can be very challenging. Like what it brings, to you, and even what is the purpose then. Like I am I'm channeling her energy as well, like grounding their energy into our reality. This part of as well, like making contact or preparing our collective consciousness to extraterrestrial presence. It's not just me channeling her and sharing the words, but it's also about those energies being grounded into our reality. So you could say I'm spy in a way. Yeah, you're spy.
So
She was
yeah,
joking like that. So
just going back for a second, you obviously talked about abductions. I'm sure that a number of people may be triggered when they hear that word, but which is why I wanted to sort of add in at this point that a lot of these interactions that people are opening up to these days are kind of agreed before incarnation. And this is really all part of us being much, much larger multidimensional beings, not just the human that you see on the screen here, but in fact being multidimensional beings that have many concurrent incarnations and versions of ourselves all running at the same time. So there's a hell of a lot to unpack with all of this, but it's a
yes,
fascinating
definitely.
topic. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to also address that, like I understand, like, yeah, definitely in the past when people were having more experiences with the grace that were not so understanding of like what they were causing us. It's like a cause and effect, so they have to learn from effects. And why to judge them if they were able to change their behaviors, because we as a humans do mistakes all the time. I know that there are, of course, some type of grace that are very malevolent, and I wouldn't, like connect with them. But I believe these hybrid races, and that's what I get from ShayLa, and I trust her, is that those who, like they come from the races of grace who actually strive for making better beings, bettering themselves. So it obviously tells you they were not completely bad. They were different but not bad as the other ones that were maybe abusing humans for completely different reasons than creating hybrids. So of course there is a lot of trauma, but I would separate, like between intentions, of different beings. This more negative grace, I would even categorize into like astral parasites. And yet I don't think that they have anything to do with really Yahyel and connection to them, like that they have any similarities. And so yeah, I understand that of course, like people can have bad um, thoughts about or feelings about all this, like it happened on a unconscious level, like they didn't approve of it like from their conscious mind. But I believe, like yes, like how you said it, that it's basically like what we chose to experience on a higher level, soul level, from whatever reason. And like whatever happens to you in life in a negative way, in my opinion, proper mindset is and spiritual grow mindset is that you try to find a way, like what is the lesson in that experience. And this is, in my opinion, the same. Like if you didn't like something like this happening, then I don't know, like if you cannot even accept it, then like maybe try to find like in what other ways it serves you, basically what it
Yeah.
reflects to you, these feelings and so on. But I believe that like when we choose it on a soul level, but of course like everyone is different, this is my opinion, that if we really wake up and do spiritual work and wake up to like our soul and that connection, deeper connection with our core, then in my opinion we would find there like true positive reasons why we really wanted to experience this.
Yeah.
And for example, I also had experiences when ShayLa's energy was triggering me in some ways that some other people could see negative, but I never saw them negative. I saw them that she was triggering some energies in me that were just not resonant with her energy. It was like certain past traumas. It could manifest sometimes through even physical sickness, and in many different ways. It would be like reminding me of some situation. It would be coming up, but I saw it as like a great trigger for me to finally release those things. And of course this can happen all the times. Like I didn't, as I said, like I didn't process everything, for example, that I experienced with her, because it was so much that I still have a lot of things to process. And it's still, I would say, a blessing. Even it can be very hard, like in what way it's challenging, even when you feel the best and amazing love like you never felt before. Even that can be challenging, because it's like your human mind, or like those beliefs on that you have been taught that you don't deserve love in a certain way, or this amazing big love, universal love or divine love. So when ego gets into there, it can be very destructive even when you have positive experience. Person definitely has to work with themselves in I would say in some mature spiritual way. I would say, I don't know how to better say it or explain it. I hope it's like understandable what I mean.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like but in the wider context, it's, everything in life is a reflection or a permission slip that we can use to really get to know ourselves better. And I guess true expansion is when you look at all the good and the bad, and you can approach it in a thoughtful, conscious way, rather than just reacting based on programming that we may have accumulated as we grew up through our childhood and so on and so forth, because of the generational advancements in terms of how aware people are. So yeah, it's like I think for the purpose of this discussion, these
Well, can I say
experiences.
one more
Yeah,
thing? Like
yeah,
I feel like I also need to say that I understand, for example, that some people may feel even judged when I'm saying something like this.
mhm,
Like if they are not able, for example, process it the way that I'm suggesting. I don't want to say that they're less of something. Like the
absolutely.
choice, like all the choices are valid, and I myself also am still choosing in some way something toxic in my life for myself. And sometimes it's difficult to overcome it. And digging deeper, like it first needs your courage, and if you really want to go there. So if you feel something that is really not so positive and you don't feel like going there, like I wouldn't judge it, because I cannot judge it, because I am still myself working on many different things. So I don't also want people to feel like there are something less if they are choosing not to even
Yeah,
like
yeah,
process it. Like it's in their own timing. If they choose to never dive into it, like they would refuse, for example, completely spiritual stuff, like completely, like I think it's valid choice. Like I don't want to say like there are something less than if they are choosing something else, but yeah,
mm,
like for me it's like only way that I can continue a healthy life in a way. So like I definitely have to process it at some point, a lot of things. So I'm always
Yeah,
trying,
yeah,
my best.
yeah. No, I mean,
Yes.
I think Bashar would say something like, "We're all beautiful facets of creation. All paths are just as valid as one another, just as important, just as special." And
Hmm.
and that's the thing about of true development advancement. It's not about always raising your frequency and reaching higher. It's about it's about seeing more of who you are,
Hmm.
all of that, from all the things that we judge as being bad to good and everything in between.
Definitely, yeah.
And the more you can relax into that, and also another thing I've come across recently and really started to feel is that development and expansion is not so much about reaching up and up. It's about relaxing into ourselves, and
Yeah,
by
yeah.
doing that, and your awareness sort of expands um, across all the frequencies that we exist and can experience, and then that through that process we expand naturally in all directions, and
Hmm.
it's then having that conscious sort of choice then as we continue to follow our path in terms of
Yeah,
which direction we wish to take it. So bringing
yeah.
back things back to ShayLa,
Yeah.
in how does she interact with you? Obviously, you said you're a vocal channel, and I've been part of the monthly calls that you do, and they've been really cool, really fun. So I'll put some information in the description about that. But how does she interact with you in terms of the way that you perceive information and then can give it out to everybody?
Like, do you mean just during channeling or like completely
Well, we'll start off
in
with,
other?
yeah, we can start off with just the channeling side.
Yeah, like during channeling, like of course it evolved in some way. But yeah, like for example, what I feel during channeling, it's like first I just open up and relax, and basically immediately start feeling some strange shifts, kind of like in my mind and energy field, and I just go into it. Like the co-creation that I have with her is. I'm not in a trance. She's not controlling me. I decide when I will speak for her, basically, and just then flow with the flow of the thoughts and feelings and emotions. And when we kind of like merge together, it's funny because also it's kind of like challenging because we are very similar in a way, like what are our values and so on. So sometimes I don't even notice that. I connect with her or like she comes in because it's so natural for me to feel her, and recognize her. And she's already part of my energy, so it feels like a slight shift, basically. But still, like there are sometimes people ask me things before channeling, and I have no idea like what to answer to you. But when I start channeling her, like immediately there are just I know things, so I just say it, like it comes, I can definitely recognize her energy as like trying to be more gentle and welcoming, and like how she works with my energy is also like she's trying to be gentle, of course, towards me because I require that. um, so that's why she comes through me in a specific way. She could be coming through some other, let's say, people who would be able to channel her in a slightly different way. And sometimes it can be, of course, like visions, most of the time she guides me like really what she kind of like experiences as well in herself as a response to the question. So because I have that whole state of being in me, so I kind of like know, as I told you, know, but it can be knowing from the feelings, from the thoughts, from the attitudes, and then sometimes, like I can communicate as well back to her in some way, like she's guide, because sometimes I feel yeah, like when I'm speaking, it's like a lacking, you know, like, because I get more before I say it, and sometimes I guide her back, like I know where she is aiming, and I'm like, can you also tell about this and that's, like, can you go in this direction as well, you know? So I sometimes guide her as well, and she responds to that, you know. So it can be, or I sometimes tell her like, this is not clear what you are saying, or it used to maybe happen more in the beginnings, I don't know. Like I this is another thing, that I don't even remember my interactions with her when I'm channeling, because it's so kind of like many different things happening at the same time that I don't really recall them. I don't and the last thing that I can recall is like what I was basically even saying, you know. It's all the experience in the now, and I'm usually, of course, I am listening to what she's saying in the now, and I really enjoy that. I really enjoy answers. Sometimes I'm like, oh wow, I'm getting this answer, this is so cool. Stuff like that, you know. So sometimes I feel I'm enjoying it more than people who are listening to me.
So you're
Or
a vocal channeler, just to be clear for everybody. You're still present and able to sort of experience the interaction that you're having with the other people.
uh, I understand vocal as like that I'm saying things, or
No, you're conscious channeler. Sorry, yes.
yeah, conscious, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm unconscious, yeah, definitely. But still, like I don't remember a lot of things, but in the moment I am aware of completely everything, like what's going on. Also, it's not just me and her, we are processing as well energies of the person who is asking question, because it's not only about words, it's always about the energy that is being received from the person behind the words and action, question, and so on. So yeah, it's very complicated to describe like this, you know, like when you have experience in getting downloads, you know, like how expansive they can be, and it can be like download in a single second, you know, in a split of the moment. And so this is like, and channeling is like being there in 2 hours, you know, in this kind of download, big one stream of
Yeah.
download. So
So
yeah.
is there anything in particular that you'd say your connection has taught you?
Like yeah, definitely. Because the base of our relationship is not channeling or serving other people. It's our private connection, and so it all started there, and everything else just followed, that we wanted to co-create. And so definitely through those interactions with her, and just kind of like opening up myself to her, and she was opening herself to me. Of course, it's both ways. It's because that's a relationship, you know, about that both of the people are opening up. And basically, before that, you know, it was maybe like a year or two before even, I was feeling like yeah, there was something that I was thinking about, like about earth women, that's like, it's almost like I cannot find someone that I would kind of like feel inspired by enough, like with this kind of like romantic feelings. And I was like, I had this thought like, yeah, maybe extraterrestrial woman, but it was just for like kind of like a joke. And I was like, no, like extraterrestrial woman would be interested in me. I'm so like a human, you know, like nothing special. You know, I have issues. I cannot teleport or whatever. You know, like, and this is a lot of people, I think, are thinking this way about themselves, that because we don't have all these abilities they have, like we are something less. But when I was connecting with her, I realized that like the way that I can work with energies and with her energy, that I am as powerful as she is, you know, because I have some special skills as well, you know, with the healings, for example, healing. But when you do with healing, it's just energy work. So you can use energy work in whatever ways. And basically with her, I was using it in tantric ways. She was teaching me tantric ways as well. And I could give her experiences that surprised me, that it was even overwhelming for her, you know. So and so yeah, basically through that interaction, through as well, like when you are blending together in a tantric way, you are blending your personalities and everything, like souls together. You have all the emotions, all the feeling. It's like a copy of her inside of me, and copy of me inside of her. and so through that you understand very well the being that you are connecting with. And so basically that really showed me that there is not that much difference between us. Like, we are all worthy, our experience is worthy.
Yeah.
And this is what I felt from her as well towards me, and she was saying it to me as well. And it's not that, because we are this type of beings in this dimension for some kind of purpose, that it means that we are something less. We are supposed to be like this. We are supposed to, in this moment, in this time, be like not connected in specific ways, not being able to teleport, not being psychic like everyone or like them, and have all the different um, expansive experiences, like for example they can have, but it doesn't mean that we are less upgraded or something. She just shows me just that my soul is the same, has same value as hers, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even like in her I'm getting touched. Like even in her like emotions, like that I was feeling, she like when you have let's say very deep love for someone, you sometimes see them even more divine that they see themselves, so, or you feel about yourself, you are in love, basically this being is amazing for you. So she was giving me,
It's
and
okay.
these are the things that I didn't process, obviously, about the connection. um, so yeah, basically she was giving me this reflection of like the time,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 No, I
that she
understand.
basically saw me even more divine. That's sometimes maybe herself, like not, yeah, it's not exactly like that, but she was just showing me how she perceived me, like
Mm.
how she feels about me, how she perceives me on all these things. It's like um yeah, like I am for her something like this, like some kind of divine being.
Yeah, yeah, no, I totally get that. It's like the a lot of earth spiritual wisdom, and indeed a lot of information coming from the channels of our time, all talk about the fact that we are truly an aspect. If you look at the human form, the people sat in front of the screen today, we're a human version of a much larger multidimensional being that is timeless. And it, from the point of view of that multidimensional being, it has decided to put an aspect of itself into this reality, this density of experience, in order to have certain experiences that it can't have on the higher levels. And that is through the process of the illusion of being cut off, of being limited, of not having all these amazing abilities. But in truth, we do, on the higher levels of our multidimensional being. And as we awaken to those sorts of truths about what we truly are as human beings and become empowered into that, we then start to sort of experience more and more, if you like, high strangeness or abilities to perhaps telepathically communicate or pick up on things from other people, this kind of thing. So I think it's just incredible that, for people to really hold on to the fact that we really are so much more than the physical bodies that you see. These physical bodies that you see are within our larger multidimensional selves, and we have decided to create this experience for the amazing learnings and experiences that we can have as a
Yeah,
result.
but also it's I still kind of like feel like you're still somewhat separating. It's not just that we are amazing because we have all those other levels, It's like even what is just here, like this, human form, even that is for them like just they don't separate. They see it, of course, everything together, but not because we have all those other levels. This form here is so amazing to them. It's like they see it all, with the human part as well,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I guess they see us more integrated and in that illusion as well. But yeah, it's like they see even this version of us, this
As
only 3D part of us,
perfect, right?
still divine, yeah, and
Yeah.
perfect and divine,
Yes.
and yeah.
No, absolutely. Okay, so I think we have got quite a lot more to talk through. So what I think we'll do is we'll bring this part 1 to a close, and we'll just pick up part 2 in the next episode. And then I'd like Ivet to then tell us all about the different services that she offers as well. So thank you so much, Ivet, and talk to you again shortly.
Yeah. Okay. Bye bye.